Okay, listen, I know, guys. I'm well aware that people say things like this mainly for like rage baiting or engagement baiting or whatever you'd like to call it. I understand the idea of being an influencer and making sure that you give a very polarizing take that makes people talk about it. I'm well aware of the fact that people do that, but it still grinds my gears when people say like dumb things on the internet or when people say things that are just like factually inaccurate. I'm going to try to handle this with kid gloves because I understand that as a person. I know you, the person you see today, and people think this is luck or whatever. That I had bouts in my life where I struggled with weight. I have had weight fluctuations my entire life. And people will always try to make comments saying that things like that. I'm just going to show you this and then we'll talk about it. This influencer. Now, I don't know who this person is. I'm not saying that as an insult just because I'm not tapped into every community in the world. This influencer says she checked the Cheesecake Factory over its Skinnylicious menu. If you're unfamiliar with the Skinnylicious menu, it is a page within the Cheesecake Factory's 50-page opus of menu items where it's lower calorie, health-conscious options. It's for people who want to watch what they're eating, yet go out to eat with their friends. That's the sole purpose of it. So this person says that the cheesecake menu Skinnylicious thing is fat-phobic. I'm just going to play you this one part.
And while we're chatting, Cheesecake Factory's Skinnylicious menu is fat-phobic. The fact that it is named Skinnylicious because it has fewer calories and quote-unquote healthier options, it is fat-phobic. That is not that is not an opinion, that is a fact. And I would say argue with your mama, but she probably fat-phobic too. In order to understand why Cheesecake Factory is having a menu with lower calorie options named Skinnylicious is incredibly harmful, you first have to understand and acknowledge that thinness does not equate health. Thinness does not equate health. That is a lie taught to you by diet culture.
I'm not saying this to be rude. First of all, there's nothing wrong with being overweight. There's nothing wrong with feeling a certain type of way that you are overweight. Again, I have struggled with my weight my entire life. I'm not saying this from a position of, oh, well, you were born skinny or anything like that. Just understand this. From a genuinely scientific standpoint, when you are overweight, the more overweight that you are, you run more risks of being unhealthy. Does that mean that a thin person can't be unhealthy? No, this is a conversation that requires nuance. The leading cause of death in the United States are dominated by chronic illness and prevented injury. But the leading cause, the number one thing, is heart disease. Now let's peel back the layers of this. I'm not trying to be rude, I'm just telling you. Primary causes of heart disease are driven by a combination of underlying medical conditions, lifestyle choices, and genetic factors. But the most critical factor, the leading contributor, number one, is right there, sitting on the top, high blood pressure. Peel it back even more. Most high blood pressure, which is hypertension, has no single identifiable cause, which is true. Okay, this is why I said it requires nuance. Instead, it develops gradually from a combination of genetics, age, and lifestyle factors. Which one of those can you control? It is very true that if you have a history of high blood pressure, hypertension in your family, you are at a higher risk. That is genetic. It is also true that arteries naturally stiffen and narrow as people getting older. If you are a person, you are getting older. We're getting older as I speak right now. You are older. Every second of your life, you are getting older, which means arteries naturally stiffen and narrow, which means you have to take better care of yourself. Obesity, weight and lifestyle, high sodium intake, physical inactivity, and excess alcohol consumption are the main daily contributors to elevated blood pressure. Hypertension, high blood pressure, those are daily contributors. That is the only thing that you can control. You cannot control your age. You cannot control your genetics. Those are things that are just lottery. You know what that means? The only thing you can control is what you do with yourself. Now, am I telling you that you can't enjoy food? You know damn well that I'm not going to say that. Of course you can. I still preach moderation. There's still people out here that think I'm just over-consuming food because they see it in front of them. I constantly say that I have to stop myself from eating, even though I'm making reviews. I review food. It does not mean that that is the primary thing that I'm eating on a daily basis. Why am I saying that? Because for most people, when they're going out to eat, if you are trying to make better lifestyle choices, one of the things that happens is when you go to restaurants, there usually are not good options on the menu. People go to restaurants and that choice, that overwhelming amount of choice that you have at the Cheesecake Factory, specifically, you ever seen that menu? It's like 50 pages long. It is the biggest menu with a ton of, the amount of times that worked in the fitness industry for over a decade, people would say, well, what happens when I want to go out to eat? What do I pick? If you're at a restaurant like the Cheesecake Factory, you know what I can say? Go to the Skinnylicious menu. Now, should they call it the health-conscious menu? They could possibly do that, but it doesn't change, albeit that the underlying factor is it prevents people from not having the choice of saying, this is the page that I can stick to if I am in fact trying to eat healthier. Now, please understand what I am saying. I am not saying that you, as a person who struggles with their weight, I'm not telling you go to the gym. I'm not telling you go be skinny. But at the end of the day, there are 3 things that lead to high blood pressure and only one you can control. How much you choose to put into that is your prerogative. Do I have a problem with a restaurant offering healthier options for people who want to be social and go out to eat? Absolutely not. Is that fat-phobic? Absolutely not. Now, I am again saying this for emphasis. I do not think that this person is doing this for any other reason other than trying to farm engagement. But I still, at the end of the day, and I'm not going to attack the person, I am going to use that as an example or a teaching point so that I can talk about these things. Because while it is viral and, this is what people do these days, I just think it is incredibly short-sighted to say something like that. I wish every restaurant had a Skinnylicious menu. If you have a problem with how it's spoken by calling it Skinnylicious, I just think it has a nice ring to it. Hell, there's a brand of what's the brand that I get the popcorn all the time, and I am neither of these things, and I eat it all the time. I eat skinny girl popcorn. I'm not skinny or a girl. It's just ridiculous. I know that people like this is nothing but a conversation. The reason that I'm really saying these things is for one reason and one reason only. Every time that I talk about things and they go, oh, I wish I had your metabolism, or I wish, there's only one of those things that you can control. I have a history of hypertension in my family, and I'm getting older, which means I can only control the controllable. How much am I staying active? Because again, I'm going back to this leading cause. It's not just obesity, but it's also high sodium. Now, these are things that you have to understand too. People always make comments about sodium in my videos. And this is why I say everything that we talk about requires nuance. I'm not saying that because you can't have a lot of sodium. If you are a person who lives a sedentary lifestyle, if you are a person who has struggles with hypertension, or if you're a person that has already health adverse things that you have to watch out for, do not consume high sodium. Completely agree. For people like me, high sodium is generally not bad for athletes. Again, I'm just using this AI as a talking point. These are things that I studied in college because intense exercise and heavy sweating cause rapid losses of both water and electrolytes. When I don't have enough things with sodium, I should say, I cramp up almost immediately. I struggle with cramping as a college athlete. They used to make me oversalt my food and drink ridiculous amounts of Gatorade because I would cramp up during football games a lot because hate to say it, I'm a sweaty dude. That's just the way that it is. So even after my career, because I still do pretty intense workouts, pretty intense exercise and cardio every day, if I don't have enough sodium, I will cramp up. I'm constantly saying those things. People are like, oh, sodium. I understand. That's you. Fitness and health are not one size fits all. You have to do what works for you. But there are rules of thumb that you should generally stick to. Back to my original thing. Obesity, high sodium intake. Next thing, physical inactivity. The large majority of people in the United States live a sedentary lifestyle. Some of those things are because of reasons that are out of their control, like you sit at a desk for a living. It's hard to have a job where you sit at a desk and then be active. That's why things like standing desks and et cetera are very, very popular these days. I have a standing desk. You don't even realize it right now, but this desk I'm sitting on is a Secret Labs standing desk. I use it all the time. I have treadmills all over the place. I have bikes in my basement. I have bikes in my studio. I walk. I make sure I get between 15 and 20,000 steps every day, 10,000 steps at the minimum. Those are on days that I don't even exercise. I still make sure that I get that. Excess alcohol is another one. A lot of people in this country drink. That can lead to high blood pressure as well, especially, and they say excess. That means people who are drinking all the time. Am I saying that you can't drink socially? Absolutely not. Do I have drinks occasionally when I'm at dinner or something like that? Absolutely. But I do not drink on a regular basis. Now, there are in 10%, those are a smaller percentage of cases because people will say things like, I have hormone issues or sleep. Those are things that are true. There are other factors. But again, one thing that you can absolutely control is your physical activity, your diet, and exercise. You can control those things. And the more restaurants that get on board with having healthier options, I think fast food places should have healthier options for the most part. Now, I know some people say, well, don't eat fast food then. I agree. But as a person who's done this for a living, one of the biggest obstacles that people have when it comes to trying to live a healthier lifestyle is choice. What do I mean by that? A lot of people, because they refuse to meal prep, again, that's not for everybody. Some people don't want to take that extra step, or they'll forget to do it, or they'll run out of time or something else, and then they'll go, oh my God, I'm hungry, what could I eat? And every time that I sat down with people that had to do that, they go, oh, well, Tuesday I had a problem because I didn't know what to eat and my coworkers ordered pizza or my coworkers ordered this place. If there were healthier options at places like that, less people would do things like eat unhealthier, because that's in quotes, eat worse options for them, I should say, to really clarify. And the biggest thing that drove me up the wall is they said, well, you don't equate healthiness with weight. Generally speaking, people who are obese have more health risks. That does not mean it's one size fits all. There are people with other underlying issues, but the one thing that you can control is your physical activity and your dietary intake. At least they have a menu part that you can look at, so it eliminates all of those things you say I stick. I'm not saying this person, I'm not trying to attack this person. I'm not saying this as this person, this, that, and the third, or engage. I do personally think it's probably engagement farming, which I understand, but I always try to say if something that is a topic that I say I can still make a lesson or make something that I can talk about through it, I will. So yeah, I don't talk about diet a lot. I still have, fitness things on this page. I'm a person who lives it, and I try to, I am telling you this from the bottom of my, I guess, heart. I'll just say heart. I got a heart, right? Try to set realistic goals and try to stick with them. The biggest thing you can do if you want to live a healthier lifestyle is move more, and I don't want to say eat less, make better choices overall. If you do that, you will be in a better step. And how do you move more? You can park farther away at any place that you go to. How many times do you go to a mall or a grocery store and you see people circling the parking lot when the entire back of the parking lot is empty because they want to go to the front? They don't want to walk. Those are the type of choices that you can make. Little choices like that will go a long way. Those little habits, and that's something that I've practiced for probably the last 7 or 8 years of my life, and that's why I don't have the weight fluctuations that I used to. It's choices. I know there's still going to be people going, oh, well, you just eat. I can't only tell you what I do. I'm not sitting here trying to hide like it's some secret, and I am not a genetic marvel. I'm just telling you the choices that I make, and it's not easy for me to, or for a lot of people, I should say, to order a pizza, eat a slice and a half, and then put the pizza down, or have 5 bags of cookies sitting in front of me and eat a couple of each and then put them down. It's not easy to do. Do I have a higher basal metabolic rate because of my activity levels and my muscle mass? Yes, but those are things I've built up over time. I also walk and move a lot more. You get what I'm saying? So don't make that stuff the basis of your diet, and move more. Start with that. No outro on this channel.